Hello there. Also signing in. Well, as we all know, Call of Duty has seemed to decline game after game after game, in my opinion. Black Ops 2 just seems to be Black Ops 1, just with a little more shininess to its detailing. So I'm here with Sparta. Sparta, what do you think about the future of Black Ops?
Sup? Future of Black Ops? Well, we know it's going to be over in all of, 6 months when Modern Warfare 4 comes out. We know it's happening. Activision, I believe, moved Destiny further out, I think, for the reason that they wouldn't want to cannibalize their own sales by having Destiny go against Modern Warfare 4.
But even so, the Call of Duty game seems to be losing taste after every release. It seems to be the same thing. Like they recently, when Modern Warfare 3 came out, the comparison between the graphics of 2 and 3 are basically the same thing. They just added a separate layer of coding and another coding to the guns. It's basically the same thing over and over again. Modern Warfare 4, unless they go back to freaking Civil War, I don't think we're going to see anything different.
This is what happens when you make a game every year to 2 years. I don't know, I'm not surprised. I thought people would see similarities sooner than now.
Similarities? It was basically
I think that if the actual companies like Activision and all of them actually listen to their fan base and cater to what they were looking for, it would actually become a better game. For example, they were asking for more customizable classes where it's not like everyone has the same loadout. It seems that they try to do it for you, or they give you the illusion of a customizable class play, but eventually everyone learns the same loadouts. That's the best one for run and gun or sniping, and everyone, especially if you're playing hardcore mode, which is more the competitive levels, you want to not show up on radar, not be detected by helicopters, so everyone runs with Ghost or something.
Yeah, I find that everyone starts using
then it also seems to fall under the same weapon. Like they brought out for the first time, they added for the downloadable content a new gun, which is something that people were requesting instead of just map packs and new weapons to bring out. And the Peacekeeper is what it's called. Has fallen into being the favorite gun for almost anybody who wants to just have a rapid fire gun, or run a gun, or a close range or far range weapon with decent power.
Let me just stop you right there. The problem with DLC weapons is that they're originally not meant to be in the game's coding. So to balance out weapons is just the same thing as any standard fighter. When you have a DLC character, their programming, their damage output, their scaling isn't in the system's parameters already. Same thing follows for any downloadable content weapon or armor or anything considering any other game that's not a fighter. So when you put in the Peacekeeper, which my friend Sinart over here said is a running gun, long range, close range, seemingly versatile weapon, something we've seen in previous games, like we can just call it the new M16 even though it's not an M16.
Or the Commando from Black Ops.
Or the Commando from Black Ops. Yeah. So we can see that downloadable weapons can become a huge game changer in later versions of the game. Let's just hope that the next DLC doesn't give you a homing rocket that can hit you from anywhere on the map, because that way it'll just break the game.
Well, it doesn't seem like they're going to bring another weapon out in the downloadable content, because the developers in the discussion of making the Peacekeeper said that they went through the two most used classes to create this one. So therefore, by going through the classes, they determined that making a sniper would be just one-sided to a particular gameplay. Making assault rifle one game, making a submachine gun, so they combined the two classes, this one gun most versatile to all the game, chosen by a player, so to fit everybody. Now, to go on with content, adding it to a game, we've come to learn that the downloadable map pack on your main disc, they're just not as of
Sounds like a Capcom scheme to me.
Well, that's Capcom though.
might as well Capcom, because it's not free like Namco.
That's what developers are doing with all these games now. They've got to pay for it on disc.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I think that as a company in general, they want to keep people having new things to do different over the year that the game's out. So yeah, I accept the fact of having spread out maps and spread out content over time, because if not, you'll get all of it at one time. In 3 months, you'll be bored of it, and you're looking for a new game. So it doesn't make any sense for a company or a developer to give you everything at once.
Kind of like Ghost Recon. The
Oh.
Future Soldier was a really great game, involved bringing a new type of customization. It really does give a unique aspect to the weapon, but the problem is that they gave all their DLC out post launch of the game, which kind of gave all the players what they wanted. But as soon as they saw that no one started buying their games after the Arctic Map Pack came out, like, what was it, 2 weeks after launch?
Something like that. I thought it might have been roughly about almost a month, but yeah.
Well,
time
I mean,
frame's close.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, going back to again, like we were saying with the Black Ops 2, with the game itself in general, my issue with the game is the customization and how that worked out. Especially with the loadout of the guns, you have 10 options to which you can choose for your whole layout of your weaponry, your main gun, your second gun, your perks or your attachments, and then you have these things called wild cards, and the wild card actually takes up a slot of one of your items, and then whatever you put the wild card to use it for takes up another slot. So you end up losing your secondary weapon or all your tactical or your grenades or something. I mean, you completely mess up your whole slot, and it just becomes too much of an issue where no one's really customizing their games, the guns as much, and it doesn't really work for me. From what was being said prior to the game coming out of how the loadout would work, the way that supposedly it was mentioned by some of the developers, it was on YouTube and on G4, developers giving little sneak peeks of what they're working on, where it was that by adding 2 perks or having 2 perks go pro, it creates a third element effect that is not something you can choose. It just happens when you combine these 2 pro elements, and which sounds to be like an amazing concept where
that's definitely something that would have been really different.
You know, but instead of, they gave you perks that were pro'd. So there was no build up to the perk. There was no build up to, finishing ghosts where you were detectable with some kind of hiding, and then by finishing a challenge or finishing the build up to getting pro version of it, then you were invisible. No, automatically you're invisible. So you got people running with Ghost, which Ghost in this one, I can understand how they made it where you have to be moving to have it active, but it really took away what snipers played with. Because snipers are vulnerable. They don't really have a quick reaction time. They're switching the gun to the secondary. The pistol is their saving grace because the pistol's a fast moving, quick change. But in this version of the game, they try to make it where it's mostly run and gun. Snipers are not liked in this game. Unless you're a quick scoper, and that's what it seemed like they geared all snipers towards. You better be a quick scoper or you're not playing as a sniper that well. And so the loadouts don't really work in that benefit to them. And Ghost was a saving grace from how they have it here for a sniper, because that's the purpose of them, to hide and snipe.
But they kind of did that because in previous installments of Call of Duty, the sniper was the more favored class because you had range and power behind every shot. Like, let's go back to Modern Warfare 2, where like everybody and their grandma was playing a sniping class. The Barrett 50 cal with the full metal jackets, some sleight of hand, add some ghosts in that, sprinkle on some nice camo, and then that way you won't be able to be seen, or your shots will kill you before you're even able to move.
Most found weapons I saw used in Modern Warfare 2 are usually the Scar and the Tar, but
yeah, I mean the only time you really ran into a sniper group or a whole team of snipers is when you ran into teams that were
quick scope.
Well, like clans. They actually play the game as a competitive level. They're gonna spawn, gonna lock you into a side, and yeah, they actually set themselves up mostly with their long range snipers, and then you had 2 runners, and that's just tactical play. The thing that you see in most of these games is that people that are more social playing or fun playing, yeah, they're gonna hate when they run into a team that locks them down, but
that team's just bringing it to a higher level of play. They're bringing it in a more competitive experience because they're looking to go further with it.
And the other thing about this Black Ops 2, which really is annoying, is the fact that they are running everything as core, which we call soft core. And there are different opinions on both sides. I don't really have I don't really have a problem with core because I play both, but for a competitive level, I think hardcore is what would fit. I mean, because there's no radar, there's no map. You actually have to see and communicate, which makes it a more team-oriented or tactically played game. And yeah, it's slower paced because people camp and they say they're camping, but they're running through certain areas and locking down because they could get shot with one bullet and die. In core, yeah, you got people that are think they're Rambo and running out in the middle of the map somewhere because they could take 20 shots before they die.
Which in reality only takes one bullet.
But I mean, for that though, if you want to play that, I'd rather go play Halo.
Yeah.
Which I know doesn't. I can see an overshield on. I know that the person I have to knock that down, and to do that. And don't get me wrong, I love Halo. So so that's what I'm saying. I'd rather go play Halo if I want to play core in Call of Duty. But
so you prefer to go hard or go home?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're playing, well, again, like I'm saying, the whole point is that we're here months out after it's been released, and they still haven't added any new game types into hardcore. They have a league system, which is only core. How are you going to bring a league system into professional gameplay and only have core?
I'm finding that issue actually with a few games though, that you'll have something that's supposed to be the competitive game type, and then when you actually go to competitive play, they're using something different altogether, because that actually happens in both Call of Duty and Halo. In Halo, you'll find that tournament environments use completely separate rules from Team Throwdown, which is built for competitive players. I don't know why you would build a playlist that's supposed to be for competitive players if then when they go to a tournament scene, they're running completely new rules that they weren't practicing on, at least via matchmaking. I don't know, it's actually happening with a few different shooters now, that they'll have something they claim to be, is this, if you want to practice for, a more competitive scene, this is the game type to do it, and then you go to that competitive scene and all of a sudden you're playing completely different rules. I don't know.
Yeah. These are all the matters that have to be taken into consideration when thinking about making a successful shooter with a professional aspect to it. For those geared towards pro gaming / more heavy intensive play styles, like Call of Duty is supposed to have their like he said, the league system based on if it's only in core, then why not just switch over to Halo and have Halo matches with your friends? If there's no league system in hardcore, then where is the so-called edgy gamer that is supposed to be meant for Black Ops?
Well, I mean, again, as a company out there, they're trying to hit the masses, which we understand. That's why you have core, you have hardcore, you have different game types, you have deathmatch, and then you have capture the flag. There's different gameplay altogether. The difference to some of this is that if you're going to make a competitive section on there, you're now excluding a great portion of the game players out there. And understanding all these games are not geared just for competitive players. I mean, because then the game would never actually make it, because it's all the non-competitive players that buy it that want to run around invincible, shooting people, and that's why you got people hacking the game.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
You get wall hacks, you get
aimbots,
you get lag switchers, because they don't care about playing professional. They just want to run around and kill everybody, and and laugh
and basically break the game.
Right. So that's why a lot of us go into hardcore, because in core, again, you could take more shots, and then you have someone lag switching, which makes it like invincible. So at times, and it's just broken that way.
Yeah.
In that aspect too, I mean, we're stuck as gamers where, what's your option? Paying for a server system per game and having an account that way, which we already pay for Xbox Live, and now we're going to pay a different. I mean, PC gamers have it that way too, where sometimes they either get a free downloadable game or they buy a game version and then pay a monthly subscription to a server for their character. I mean, that's different in a sense because they're not paying a yearly or monthly fee just to go on an live version of the game.
Exactly.
So here it would be on Xbox or on PlayStation. that you have to pay for a live account to be able to play online, and then pay a server account, and then pay for DLC after you bought the game. I mean, it just becomes ridiculous.
Exactly.
You know, but again, it's confusing on for us to explain. Oh, not confusing. I'm saying it's difficult. I can understand for the developer companies to accommodate everybody. But on these small details, you would think it'd be simpler, or it should be recommended that they do follow up on the. You have a game that has two versions, hardcore and core. Put all the game types into both sections.
Yeah, so that way
let the gamers choose what they want to play. I mean, for example, in Black Ops or in the Call of Duty series, recently I was speaking to gamers that saying, "Wow, why haven't they thrown in like domination or demolition or headquarters into hardcore yet?" And then some of the guys were like, "Well, it's crazy in domination. If you're playing hardcore, you're just gonna have people like spraying grenade, nuke tubing at the bases or where you have to capture the flags at. But that's part of the game, and people will learn and adapt and play because it's hardcore. But if hardcore gamers play team deathmatch and capture the flag and they want this, just give it to them. They're the ones playing hardcore. They're gonna adapt to it and play it the way they have to.
Exactly.
I don't want to play core if I want to play objective-based games. I want to play hardcore. I'm a hardcore player. So give me my hardcore games, and we'll figure out how it plays.
So that's pretty much it from the side of Call of Duty games.
Oh, there's a lot more. But
but this is just
we can get into it all.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother section we go into, but this is just a
rant all day.
We can get into all kinds of stuff with the game.
But until that day
goes
comes,
on and on.
But until that day comes, I'm Chevalier Altus.